Welcome, everyone, to another captivating episode of GRHRA's Ignite HR Hot Seat. And today we are thrilled to shine the spotlight on Bobbi Jo Cox, who is HR Director at McCarthy Bush Corp, and who is also Vice President and President-elect of Great River Human Resources. So how are you doing this morning, Bobbi Jo?
I'm good. Just don't overpromise with captivating. I was just saying, when you guys see this, just please know it's Monday after a time change. So
Yeah,
I don't know how riveting this will
captivating
be.
either way. So,
I'm trying to make sure my phone's off and still trying to drink my coffee. So it's life today.
it wouldn't be the first time a phone's rang on one of these, but I just got a few questions I want to ask in the hot seat. So the first one I'll start off with, so what excites you most about SHRM nationally, and what are your expectations for the future? And that's a second parter, but what do you anticipate for your current role at Great River? And then next year, you being the president-elect, what are your
Oh,
expectations?
man. Okay. You got me. That's a lot. We might have to come back and revisit the questions. Okay.
Oh,
So SHRM nationally, I think I'm actually really looking forward to the fact that they are putting so much emphasis right now on some legislation going into nobody loves a presidential election year, because we all know that we'll be so tired of those commercials by like July. But I'm just excited to read some of the stuff that SHRM has put out about how they're trying to really navigate a lot of legislation around working. And what the common person needs right now is different than it was 5 years ago. And so that's pretty cool. I like to see them investing a lot of time into that. um the workforce is different, so to me that's pretty interesting stuff. I don't know, HR geeky a little bit there, but that's some of the stuff I like reading about when they send those emails out.
I'm already tired of the commercials, by the way. So,
I know we all will be, right?
and
I
the
mean,
text messages, the spam text messages that you get.
ooh, I haven't started getting those yet.
Oh,
But it's coming, right? I totally agree. All right, so that was the national part. What was your other question?
just what you expect from GRHRA here locally this year, you being the vice president, and then what are your expectations or big goals that you have going into next year as well?
That's a great question. Joanna is like totally kicking butt this year on the Ignite conference. So that's coming up soon. So that's kind of top of mind. I think that's always a really good, it's always a really good connection event, and being able to get people together from all across the region. And we as HR people don't always have a lot of time, right? So trying to get those credits in one day and connecting with everybody. And we all love the wine pool. So who doesn't remember that from last year? That's always a positive. But
Sell out in 2 hours.
that's right. Oh, she gets it. She does such a good job with that. Um, that's the thing that's coming up quickest and I'm most excited about. But I'm also very happy. I've seen a lot of things in the past couple weeks with Lori and Janine and everybody working on Muscatine and Clinton, and trying to make sure that our kind of outer regions are getting what they want out of the group. So I'm excited for that. And I hope that, we just want feedback from the members on what they want to see and what they want to do. And that's kind of our plan for next year. At least that's kind of my plan is, keep doing what we're doing well. And if there's something we're missing, let's try and add it in. Because I think just over the past couple of years, this group has really grown and we've kind of honed in on our skills a little bit. And so there's really cool stuff going on.
Oh yeah, it's really exciting how much we've grown in the past handful of years. I've been on the board for, oh gosh, 4 or 5 years now, and where we were then to where we are now. And I don't even think we've remotely tapped on how much we can grow. I mean, we're going to be neck and neck with Central Iowa here soon enough. We love Central Iowa, by the way. So,
it's just Des Moines a lot bigger than us. So it's cool to be able to, kind of be a similar size to them in the Quad Cities region.
Well, our population does rival Des Moines. If you look at it from a 50, 60 mile radius, it's a lot of people are surprised at how large our population base is in that radius. So
that's true.
Next question I have for you, Bobbi Jo. What excites you most or sorry, I already asked you this question.
See, it's Monday after a time
know,
change. I
I know.
told you.
So, as my second question I have for you, as you lead McCarthy Busch, which is a reputable corporation here locally in the Quad City market, and you lead team members, both union, non-union, could you share which SHRM resources that you've relied on in your time that you spent as an HR director? That would be interesting for our viewers.
Yeah. I think one of my most favorite things, especially like you mentioned, we have both union companies and non-union companies. And aside from being a professional poker, right? That's kind of our job sometimes, is to do this to get stuff done. I have weird stuff come up. Do you guys have that problem a lot where you're just like, where did this come from? How did you
Nothing
guys
really
create this?
Yeah, nothing really surprises me too much.
Right? But one of the things that I love through SHRM is the Ask the Advisor. I have used that service so many times because I don't know. I have been an HR department of one for many years. I'm not now, thankfully, but there's still times where I'm like, wow, I wish I could bounce this off of somebody who's also from a union environment, or whatever, to help me kind of talk through this. And so being a SHRM member, you get that service for free. And I don't know if people know about that a lot, but it's one of my favorite things to utilize a lot with questions. Also the comparison part, right? Where you can compare legislation. And so being on the border, I'm sometimes like, which way does Iowa do it again? Which way does Illinois do it again? And so to see things side by side in the law comparison part is pretty nice too when we're working on handbooks and that type of stuff. So those are my top two things that I like that comes with your SHRM membership.
I love that special mention on being on the border. Since we're in a river community, we have Iowa, Illinois, and how things can just significantly fluctuate between the two states, and just
Could
having
we have had any more of a different opinion between two states?
yeah.
It's an interesting place to be in, right? Because I mean, you've got both sides of the coin right next to each other. That's for sure.
Yeah, and you used to live in Illinois. I grew up in Illinois, and I've lived in Iowa for nearly 9 years now. You hit it on the head. How it just varies significantly between the two states.
The only thing I think that could make it weirder would be like in Indiana, you know how they keep daylight savings time. To drive back and forth between that would probably be the only thing that's just as strange, right? It would be working those states where the time change differs for that, 5-minute drive one direction or the other.
Yeah, well, you know how people always threaten to move, like this was the worst winter ever. I'm moving down south, gonna get nice weather. No, I would have to deal with that going back and forth to the time. We gotta move. We gotta move.
This isn't worth it, right?
So last question I have for you, Bobbi Jo. Over the years, I've appreciated your humor, probably is your best trait. You always know the way to make me laugh. If you had if HR was personality traits, what would your HR title actually be?
Ooh, that is a good question. Do you want the PG version of this answer? I think we'll do that. No. It's funny because I think I said earlier, professional poker, right?
Yeah.
I feel like in HR, sometimes that is my job. And I don't know that that's necessarily a personality trait, but I feel like that would definitely be in my title. I would say, let's see, Queen of Sarcasm, professional poker, and teller of stories, because man, do we have some cool stuff happening in HR.
Yeah, I've heard several of these stories over the years, and they're always quite entertaining. And yeah, I think you hit it right on the head. But Bobbi Jo, I want to thank you very much for participating in the hot seat on a Monday following daylight savings time. I think you survived the hot seat
Yeah.
very, very well. For our listeners, if this is your first time meeting Bobbi Jo and like to learn more about her or other board members, please check us out at www.grhra.org. And we'd like to see you at one of our in-person or virtual events here in the future. And Bobbi Jo, I hope you have a fantastic Monday.
Thanks. You too, Matt. Have a great rest of your week, everybody.
Thank you.